Bill up is actually the fiscal the budget itself. We are going to move. I'm going to ask for a motion, then we'll have a discussion. Motion on Senate 3000. Senator Bucco, second. Senator Panaccio. Any questions? Discussion? I have a couple questions actually. I think just two items that come to mind. There's a $50 million item in this budget for privatization. And here we are, a couple months after, and Congressman Zimmer, who is the chair of the committee, who I have a lot of respect for, has indicated in various newspaper articles that he didn't think we would ever be able to achieve or realize that savings. What are we going to do if we don't realize that's $50 million worth of savings?
We'll have to address it at that time, but, you know, I feel very confident with this Zimmer making that and leading that panel, and I think we can come up with those $50 million savings. And it's part of this budget, and it's a budget that, you know, very honestly, we all know the tough times that we are in. We know the problems that we have seen with a deficit that we inherited of $11 billion for next year, and we have to fill that hole. And that hole is being filled by this budget so that we're not faced with it in the future. And I think we have to, unless you want to shut down government, Chairman, I think we have to pass a budget to keep our government going. 8 million people out there are anticipating a budget by person.
I think, Senator Bucco, I think we could have stayed here all night and finished today. Unfortunately, members of your caucus right now are an impediment to this process, so I think we should be clear on that. Next question I have.
Well, wait. Just don't leave it at that. I'd like to answer that. There are some concerns about some of the budgets, and we are looking at them to see if we can make changes, as we did with the budget for the veterans. You brought up a question on the fee for the veterans, and we agreed with it. We changed it. We just didn't push it through. So I don't think that was a very, very appropriate response to make. I mean, we are trying to work with you and the committee and your side of the aisle to get this thing done.
Next question I have is, and I had made this clear on the blue laws, that I would post a vote here, post it for a vote, but there was no sponsor that came forward on the bill. Nobody had, there's no bill ever drafted or sponsored. What are we doing? That's a large number, $65 million. What are we doing to plug that number?
Oh, just, first of all, I'm not so sure the number of 65 or 75 is the actual number. There were varying estimates that came out anywhere from, I think, in the 30s to the 50s, and one had it.
But the plug in the budget.
Yeah, one had it for the, I think, 70 or 75. But to answer your question, Chair, I think much like that, much like the Teterboro bill, that I think there has to be process. And if the people of Bergen County want to have blue laws or repeal blue laws, I leave it up to them. But the people of Teterboro or the surrounding areas want to have change and an absorption of their townships or mergers, I think there should be some public input and output. So I think when you talk about, you know, this budget that was introduced several months ago, there's been added anywhere from estimates between $100 and $180 million from where we started. There's been a lot of give and take. A lot of Democrats and Republicans have worked together. I think this budget is going to move forward without the need for the blue laws.
Yeah, the question is, and I respect and I literally thank every member of this committee, and especially every Republican member of the Senate for not sponsoring the bill. I appreciate that, for respecting the quality of life for the people in Bergen County. I mean that. I thank everybody individually for rejecting the call to sponsor that piece of legislation. I guess the question I have is, I haven't seen any hard evidence of what we're going to do to plug the number in the budget. What is we're going to pass a budget document, but there's a hole, $65 million. There's another hole of $50 million for privatization. What are we doing? What is the offset? How are we offsetting?
Well, okay, through the chair, you say there's a hole in the 50. I don't accept that as fact, because first of all, I'm not aware of the chairman of privatization, number one, making that statement, and number two, if he did, and what OLS or what the Treasury has said and done their own independent assessments, is something standing alone from what a volunteer may or may not have said. I don't believe the chair of the privatization committee, Congressman Zimmer, said that we will not realize $50 million.
There was an article in the quote in the paper that was put out of the budget committee here. We have that.
That there will be no...
It was difficult. It was going to be difficult to get
that's a different thing than saying there will be no dollars realized from privatization.
Oh, no. It would be difficult. But the question is, who can answer? Does anybody have an answer on the blue laws of how we're balancing the $65 million?
The budget as we have it here, the 29.4, is a balanced budget, a surplus of $104 or $6 million. It is balanced. The revenues absolutely match the appropriations. So there have been mild modifications. We can argue and dicker around the fringe here. This is a balanced budget. OLS will tell you that. The administration will tell you that. The treasurer will tell you that. And I dare have heard one person say that this is not plus or minus without blue laws. This is a budget in imbalance.
Senator Toole, I'm asking a very simple question.
I know.
It's a $65 million hole in the budget. I'm just trying to find out what was put in to replace it.
That's a different story. First of all, again, I think when the ever-evolving budget numbers have come out, blue laws never materialized. My guess, it was never going to materialize between us, Chair. I didn't think it was viable from the get-go. The administration has done their own analysis, and whether numbers have been moved or not, there has been a recalibration, and this budget, as it's currently cast, as it sits in front of us, Senate Bill 3000, is balanced without need for the blue laws, and other revenues or other spending cuts or other appropriations have, we have a sheet here that balances it, have balanced this budget. So you can keep going back and saying, well, it's 30 or 40 or $50 million. It doesn't exist. The budget is balanced without the blue laws.
But Senator Toole, I think it's important. When Senator Sweeney and Speaker Oliver went in and their staffs negotiated $180 million in restorations for some of our most vulnerable citizens, every one of those restorations were matched with a corresponding either a new revenue, revenue from a lapsed fund, or additional cuts. It was dollar for dollar. I've seen the list. The actual list was even higher at one point. It was reported it was $400 million, and it was pared down to $180 million, but it was dollar for dollar. I think it's just fair to the members of the committee that we could just know, there's a list, there are spreadsheets, and I have them here, I actually can pass them out, dollar for dollar, the dollars there, the GA fund, and others, what the corresponding offset was. I'm just asking a simple question. What is the corresponding match? Does anybody know what the corresponding match to the balance of $65 million? Does the Office of Legislative Services knows?
That $65 million, Mr. Chairman, was an estimate by the administration. We don't know if it's $30 million or whether...
No, I understand that. You're missing
okay.
there's a line item in the original budget.
We have the balanced budget here.
It was scored at $65 million. There has to be something to replace it. And I can't believe we're sitting here. Nobody can answer the question.
Chairman, I think part of the broader question here is the assumptions that we make. We want to make sure that those assumptions, when a governor makes them, are fair and honest, even at the time. For instance, Governor Corzine back in December told the incoming governor that he had a surplus in the budget. Probably a fair and honest assessment at the time. And it turned out
Senator Panaccio, that was a theoretical number. This is a hard... Senator Panaccio, in all due respect, this is a theoretical... This is a hard number. The governor...
I'm going to give you very hard numbers.
The governor made it clear to me, you want this out of the budget, find me $65 million, we'll take it out of the budget. We didn't come up with $65 million. Put a sponsor, we'll post a bill and see how it goes. Nobody sponsored the bill. The simple question is, administration officials are here, who has the answer of what's replacing the $65 million?
Mr. Chairman, we have sitting between us Dr. Rosen. Dr. Rosen, is this budget balanced?
The revenues listed in the bill exceed the appropriations in the bill. So the budget, the numbers within the bill balance.
Thank you.